And welcome and good morning to GP News, your daily dose of Formula One news. We're still getting over the Mexican Grand Prix despite the Brazilian Grand Prix coming up this weekend. Now, neither of us are silly, and that was the words of Lewis Hamilton after his George Russell battle. He said, "It was fun. I had fun today," referring to their fight in Mexico. I had a good start. I had a really bad first stint. Took too much front wing out of the car. I had a massive understeer. After my stop, I was able to rectify, and then I had much better race pace and was able to push and keep going. I don't think either of us are silly," he said. "George is really smart and is fair, and he's just really good at where he places the car, and I think for me too." So, how it should have been. Now, interesting news about Ferrari is this is the first time since 2008 that both Ferrari drivers have won multiple Grand Prix. Fred Vassar, keeping that on that Ferrari theme, he said about his perfect weekend, nearly, he said it was a perfect weekend because FP1 Sainz was always on pace, always there. The pole he did, essentially saying he did pole twice in qualifying. He had the perfect drive because he just gave up the first corner because it was tight. He was clever in giving up that first corner, referring to Max Verstappen and Carlos Sainz, and he was clever to give up the position and then to come back and to overtake Max. He said, "I think it was a perfect start, a perfect drive, and a perfect weekend." He said, I think next weekend in Sao Paulo, when we start again from scratch, the top 8 can fight for pole, and this is a very good side, the positive side of the championship. We showed good pace in the last 4 or 5 events. We will be competitive in Sao Paulo, so watch out there. Jos Verstappen has come out and he said there's a conflict of interest in the FIA stewards. He said if you look at Sunday's actions, Max's second moment may have been a bit too much. Okay, fair enough, but he isn't letting this get over him. He said he has to do this because the car is not good enough. He's doing everything he can to win the title, but Max is not going to change his driving style because there are a couple of stewards present now who don't like him anyway. He said the FIA should take a good look at the staffing stewards, who they put there, and whether there is an appearance of a conflict of interest. Strong words there from Jos, but Andrea Stella, he told Norris, don't be desperate before the race and don't find justice yourself. Stella said our conversation and our internal reviews have always been very clear, and we're talking about McLaren. He says you go racing in a fair, sportive way like you do, and then there needs to be a third party, and that is the stewarding. That will say whether some manoeuvres are correct or not. Don't be desperate. Don't have to prove anything. You go racing fair and square, he said. So, in this sense, I think it's a positive day because it has proven that I think it's good to race hard, but it can't be resolved on the track by 2 drivers. It needs a third party. It needs the authority. Absolutely. Now, McLaren are saying Max Verstappen clash cost Norris a shot at the win, and I think it did. Stella also said, when I look at the incidents in the early laps of the race, there's a little bit of disappointment because without that couple of incidents, I think Lando could have fought for victory today. Anyhow, that's just if. For me, the important fact is that we have seen the car is competitive, as in their McLaren car. The upgraded car seems to be now on par with Ferrari at a track that we thought would be more in favour of Ferrari. So this is encouraging for the remainder of the season, the last 4 races. And Lewis Hamilton has come out and said the Mexico battle highlighted F1 package differences. He said we got a lot of information when talking about his Mercedes team. He said I could see on his car where he was better than me, and I'm hopeful he'll be able to see where he is better than me. And I'm better than him, he's referring to. So the package-wise, hopefully there's lots of data, so we'll figure out who starts what next race. And last but not least, Toto Wolff has come out and saying the past Verstappen F1 clashes going unpunished legitimised his racing, and that's what a lot of people sadly believe. He said, Wolff said, I think back in the day certain stewards had their opinion that was on, and because in relation to the Verstappen racing, he said it wasn't penalised, it basically legitimised it. Fair enough to have a driver who drives within the regs and utilises all the margins given to him by a steward. a lot of people are suggesting now that's not fair racing. So, if you like what you see, please give us a subscribe. Stay safe. Good morning. Have a good day or good afternoon, good evening, whenever you are listening to this. But we do go out in the morning at 7 o'clock, dead on 7, and we'll speak to you soon.